Hi, and welcome to a new series that I am calling Monthly Motivation. Something that I've determined that I really need in 24, and hopefully you need a dose of it too. One of the things that starts the first of every year, the first of every January, is the incessant advertisements for weight loss and for diet and for health products and weight products, and it just goes on and on. And I don't know about you, but I get very tired of the same old rhetoric, the same old routine every single year. And yet it seems like nothing ever changes, right? That we just keep muddling through, doing the same things over and over again. And so I think that was partially what kind of spurred me on last year to start my cookbook club. Is I wanted to simplify things, and yet I knew I wanted to still eat healthy, that I knew I still needed a break in what I was doing every single day. So I created the cookbook club as kind of a way of giving myself something that I could use to plan dinners, that I could use to draw recipes from, and yet it didn't take a lot of thought process. You know how at the end of the day when you're trying to decide what's for dinner, and you look, maybe scroll online or you glance through all the cookbooks that you have throughout on your shelves, and you have no idea. And what usually happens is you order in. And so I kind of wanted to avoid that last year. And I thought, well, what if I started a cookbook club? And what I did is I choose a cookbook every single month, and that's what I use to draw my dinner inspiration from. Now, I'm not saying necessarily every single night. We like to have movie nights on Friday night, and I usually pop a homemade pizza into the oven, different things like that. We have our favorites that we like to draw from, but maybe most other days, maybe 4, 5, 6 times during the week, I like to use a new cookbook just for new inspiration, for new ideas. And some we like, some we don't. Again, it's just kind of an all hit or miss type of thing, right? But that was truly the inspiration behind why I created the cookbook club. And so I thought this year I would continue it again and maybe combine it with some tips and tricks that I found through the years of being a plant-based eater, and just some different concepts, different ideas that I'm cooking with, that I'm using in my own kitchen, that maybe can be an inspiration for you too. Which is why I thought I'd create these monthly motivational videos to help you out, and then also to include a worksheet that can kind of help you put your ideas and get your mindset going on what you want to accomplish for the month, where you want to go with your plant-based lifestyle ideas. And I'm finding myself, if I use that type of a strategy myself, I stick more on track and I accomplish more. And not only that, but it also simplifies my approach to things. So I have it right here. You can go ahead and download it, and hopefully it helps you too. Let me know if it does, and if you see any benefit to this throughout the month. I'd love to hear from you on that. So where I thought I would start with that is start with the actual worksheet itself and kind of work through it myself to give you some ideas of how you can implement it into your own life. So the worksheet, and where I like to always start, is kind of with a monthly recap of what happened in the previous month, what I can take from it, what can I keep using, what worked, what didn't work, and just kind of move forward from there. So for me, last month, obviously the month of December is all about holidays and, getting things done, and family and friends and parties, and, just all the kind of thing that go along with the last month of the year. And so this year, when I looked back at, the previous few years, one of the things that I always did is over plan, especially for the actual holiday meals themselves. I liked to put together a whole variety of different entrees and sides and appetizers, and I would have literally a feast on the various holidays throughout the month. And one of the things is, when I looked back, I just kind of thought, I didn't want to do that this year. I wanted to take things a lot easier and just stick with something really good, really basic, that allowed me to focus on the holiday itself rather than cooking. Even though I love cooking, I love everything about it, I just didn't want the same expectations this year. So I kept my holiday meals very simple, to the point where we didn't even make pies and anything like that. We invested in a couple of cookie recipes that we had made a few days before, and that was our dessert. We didn't even, didn't miss anything. It's not something that we even really wanted. So we kept it simple, went with a very simple butternut squash risotto recipe. And then I threw a kale and furrow salad together on the side, and it was perfect. It was just what we needed. We had a variety of tastes, a variety of textures, had a little bit of crunch, satisfying from a kale salad, as well as the very creaminess of a butternut squash risotto. And again, it was very perfect for what we needed. And just having a small little cookie on the side at the end brought a little bit of sweetness to the table, and it was perfect. We didn't need anything else. So I think that's something that I'm going to want to keep in mind as I move forward. And hopefully I'll remember this. I can look back to my worksheets and say, you know what, let's keep things simple. Doesn't mean it can't be good, because it doesn't mean you can't bring out your favorite meals, favorite recipes, but you can still keep it simple and just enjoy the holiday for what it is. The other thing that I learned coming into this month is we had a big night out planned, concert, going out to dinner, just this kind of a very big night, looking at holiday lights. We kind of threw everything into one night this year. And when we went out to eat, I ended up ordering something that I wasn't aware totally what was in it. And it ended up being very rich, which within an hour definitely caused my system to say, hey, what are you doing putting this into your body? And it shut me down, made me actually have to go home early. And the one takeaway that I have from that is just how important the food supply has become to my life. How much my cooking, my recipes, my food selections, my choices, how all of that really has played a role in my overall health and well-being. And it's something that I'm not going to take for granted. I think I need these reminders every few months or every couple of years to say, you know what, food matters, and you cannot eat, in that old patterns once you move into new eating, once you clean up your diet, once you move into plant-based. No matter where you are on your spectrum, if you've decided to make this, it may take a while. This isn't something, that happens overnight, that you soon discover just how much this cleans up your life, your health, and everything about it. But I'm reminded of it when things like this happen, of just how much this has helped my overall well-being and my health, and just those little reminders of, you can't step back into eating, but not that I even chose something, ridiculously bad by any means, but even when I move and it ended up having a cheese sauce that was just way too rich for me, because I don't eat dairy, don't eat cheese that much anyway, and it was unexpected in this meal. But when you have those little reminders, it really kicks home the point of, how do you want to feel and how do you want to approach your health overall? And for me, it was definitely a wake-up call. It's something that I'm going to strive for again all year long, don't take any of that for granted. Be conscious in what I choose and the direction that I move forward. So with that, what I am going to do is make my January cookbook selection, and I'm really excited about this one. So this one is called Simple and Delicious Vegan, and I'll put the title and the author and everything in here too. I found her actually kind of by chance. Hazelnuts are huge where I live now in the Pacific Northwest. We have a lot of hazelnut farms. And up at my local farmer's market in the summertime, there's a hazelnut stand. They have a hazelnut farm, and they bring them to the market throughout the summer. And of course, I got started on them and just loved incorporating them into my salads and my dishes. But I had a whole bunch left over. I had a whole, several sacks actually left over of these hazelnuts. And I thought it would be great to cook or to bake with hazelnut and make some hazelnut cookies. So I went online, looked for, vegan hazelnut recipes for desserts for cookies. And I found two great recipes that I tried, loved both of them. And it happened to be the author of this book right here. So once I really enjoyed her two cookie recipes, again, I started, poking around her site a little bit more and found her cookbook. So glance through it, and again, what I like about it is exactly what the title says: simple and delicious vegan. And especially in January, when you're getting back into the swing of things, You're still staying inside because maybe it's cold or dark, or dark longer at night and stuff. There's still that winter air here in where I live anyway. So I want something that is still comforting, is still warm and nutritious, but doesn't take a ton of time. It's not like I'll be spending hours in the kitchen baking, so that I can try some other things out that I have for my plans for the year. And that's exactly what this cookbook is. So I'm excited to get started with this. I already marked several recipes that I'm excited about. She just has very simple salads, soups, entrees, a lot of classics, nothing out of the ordinary that I wouldn't recognize from other cookbooks. But just to keep it simple, and just good, hearty vegan food, right? So I'm excited to get this started with this cookbook. Again, I'll put all the information in there in case you want to play along and start cooking with this year. I also have a couple of other goals for the year. One of them is, for this month, is I've decided that I really want to start cleaning out my kitchen a little bit too. Making it clean and kind of getting back into the routine. I don't know, for some reason after, farmer's market and coming into the holidays, I started stockpiling thing, and my garden was incredible this year. I still have pumpkins and delicata squash, all kinds of things kind of stacked up on my countertop. But looking around there this holiday season, I decided that, I want to get rid of some of that and to actually clean things up, make it more usable again. Kind of go Marie Kondo on my kitchen. So I've targeted a couple different cabinets that I'm going to attack in the month of January. One of them is my spice cabinet. If you have anything like that, I have literally spices up and down and all over the place. I was looking for some curry the other day and happened to pull out several bottles. I don't even know how long they've been in there. So I decided it's a good time to pull it all out, give it a wipe down, clean it up, maybe look at somehow of reorganizing it so it makes more sense. And then also hitting one of my favorite spice stores. It's just a few miles up the road. I'm going to take a trip over there too and see what they have, just freshen up everything that I have in that cabinet, making sure it's high quality, the best ingredients so that my foods will taste great. Imagine that. That's the purpose of all this anyway. So if you haven't done that in a while, again, maybe you can play along with that too, of pick a cabinet, maybe it's your refrigerator, or maybe it's one shelf of your pantry, or, just a cupboard that, you throw everything in. That's another thing I'm going to do. I've gotten a couple new appliances and they've just kind of stacked up in this one cupboard. So I want to dig in the back and start pulling some things out and, make those hard decisions. Do I really need this, or is it time to give it away, or, give it a new home to somebody or something that can use it and have more success with it than I need right now, that maybe I've moved beyond that particular appliance. So that's kind of some things that I'm hoping to work through here in January myself. And again, it's all about delicious food, right? The other thing, the final section of my worksheet is all about growth and some of the things that I want to try and experiment with. I think that's also, something that we tend to do, especially at the first of the year, is who are we? What do we want to learn? What new skills do we want to bring to the table? I know I always like to sign up for classes and things like that in January, just to, advance as a human, right? As to try something new. So I really got into bread baking this year. Focaccia bread. I have a focaccia recipe that I just adored. I was making it almost on a weekly basis for a while. But funny thing happened, I had an old pan that I was putting it in, and I actually wore the pan out. I didn't even know that was possible. But I used it so much that there was a small hole in there, and with focaccia bread, if you know anything about it, you dump olive oil on it. There's a lot of olive oil that goes in there, and it was actually leaking through, and couldn't figure out what was going on, while it was baking, all this smoke and stuff, till I discovered the hole in my pan. So I had to buy a new pan. Still not too sure about that. I might have to continue to look for more pans, just to find one that I really love to make this. But that's going to be a strategy, especially with, some simple soups and salad recipes. If I can get back into my focaccia bread making, see where that takes me, and what I can create for me and my family, and maybe even to bring along to some potlucks that I have planned coming up later this month. The other thing that I want to really focus on for growth in my cooking skills is to get back to the point where I plan. Now, this is great to have a cookbook in place, but it still can be very frustrating, when you open it up at 5 o'clock and go, okay, what do I have in store and what do I want to make tonight? One of the things that I found that I really enjoyed is every Sunday sit down and map out what I'm going to have for the week. It allows me to go shopping at one time and buy pretty much everything that I need for the week. And it also takes away the surprise. I can maybe plan some stuff, maybe at lunch, do some cutting if I have some time, or if anything, it also gives me the chance, at 5 o'clock, I can open up to the specific recipe, know exactly what's coming, what I'm going to have to create, what I'm going to have to, do to get ready for it. And I really like that. I find that I'm much more happier in the kitchen and with my meal preparations if I have that plan in place. So that is something I'm going to stick to this month, get back into that, really make a plan to move forward with it. And we'll see how it goes. Again, I think that's having a plan. A lot of times, at least for me, I work better with that because it's that surprise is taken away from it. A long time ago, I read Steve Jobs took away, decision making by always wearing the same black turtlenecks and blue jeans. And there was a part of me that always appealed to that because it's like if you can take away choices in your life in certain areas, it allows you to be more flexible in other areas. And so I've tried to create systems and do things like that as much as possible. And over the years, I have found that that is one of the most beneficial things I can do is actually create that plan ahead of time. It takes all that worry off of what's for dinner. And it also makes me more appreciative of what I'm going to cook that day. And I'm not necessarily, let's just call takeout or, make something simple like a pizza. It gives me the reason to, okay, tonight is, burrito night, or tonight is, maybe we're making a Buddha bowl or something like that. I know it going in. I even think about it throughout the day. So it just makes the entire process more enjoyable and easier to handle, right? Because I know and expect what's coming. And I'll kind of end it with one of my rituals that I love to bring joy back into my life. I made it a habit of every single week buying myself a bouquet of flowers, and I put it just right outside my kitchen, kind of on the divider between my kitchen and my dining room. With an open concept, I can see it from almost every room on my main level. And I love that bouquet of flowers. It's just something that I've come to appreciate. It's become an important ritual in my own life, just to spark joy every time that I walk by it and see a beautiful bouquet of flowers. In the month of December, I ended up buying a whole bunch of poinsettias and kind of sprinkled them throughout my house. Love them; they're just so beautiful. And I keep them around for obviously as long as they're still blooming and in good shape. But I really miss my weekly bouquets. So that's something that I'm going to bring back into my life, make a spot for it again, because again, it gives me pleasure actually buying it, and it brings joy to my life every time that I see it. And I think that's what's so important about developing and building a gorgeous life, is to do things that honor you, to do things that bring joy to your life and put a smile on your face. And so this January, whatever little piece you take from this, I inspire you to take just a little piece of joy and bring that into your life as well. We'll see you next month.